Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video. Now if you've watched my channel for a while, you may have seen that I did a video about the 30th anniversary Kickstarter that was released, that comprised of many offerings, and in particular you could get the archives, 2 books of the archives, volume 1 and 2, and then a sort of chronicles which had some of the one-shot graphic novels in there, which I thought was a great idea. The one-shot graphic novels, not so much the archives, because I'm one of those people that I've read them, and they were okay, but they were set at a different time and they were set for, I guess, a different audience, a younger audience, which makes sense for the time because it would have been those younger audience that got it. So I ended up quite happily not buying those, because literally within the space of 2 months, in fact, it would have been released before I got my Kickstarter. So I would have been even probably more irritated if I had invested a lot more than buying them at retail. What, for a special cover? I find that irritating. So I did mine on first day. So usually when you do first day, you get a special pin. So I got the special Power Rangers 30th pin, which is great. I put disappointment probably in the thumbnail if I remember to write it correctly. I have put disappointment. My biggest disappointment is that we have these comics, and rather than being because these are special, these are not things that you can get off the shelf. I've spent a lot of money on these, and they did not come bagged and boarded. Literally, they were in a bit of bubble wrap, and inside, in terms of packaging, there wasn't really much packaging. It was literally one of those thin sort of comic book protectors, maybe a bit more stronger than the usual subscription that you would get. So from that perspective, I'm a little bit disappointed, and I feel like I will say my piece to Boom and Kickstarter, because I've invested this money in this Kickstarter. Why wouldn't this be a given that you would provide these comics in this? Okay, so we're going to look at them both. So first up is issue 0. So this is basically the comic, and basically they've added on this 30th. I feel like this is more shiny here, the Morphin here as well, and it's got the dragon sword in there, the usual stuff that I would expect. It's got like a little fill to it as well. I don't know what that fill is, but it feels like a little bit more than the usual comic. And then on the back, I've got Kimberly, and that will become apparent why that is. Well, it's got Zero there, and Montez did the originals, and this is 2023. Now, I'm going to talk on a subject which has nothing to do with me. I know that some collectors have sent this off for grading, and been a little bit disappointed that it hasn't come graded as, I guess, an issue 0. In my mind, the way that I look at this, even though the content is issue 0, we've got that original content in here, it is still a 30th anniversary special release, so to speak. So in context, it is still this, and in my mind should still be graded as this. It should be graded as 0, because 0 is 2016, that first release, and I've got that release. I will show that release before I'm done with this video. So very simple inside. So you've got these pieces that fold out like so, and like so. And how am I going to do this? This is going to be awkward. So let me take my camera off. So one side is the Zords, which were, I haven't got these. I've been meaning to buy these for years, and I haven't. You got Dragon Zord there, which is quite cool. And so if I fold that back in, let's do that. Let's do that way. And then I'll go to the back. And then once again, inside you got the Black Ranger, you got the Pink Ranger already on the outside, and then you got the Blue Ranger, which is an homage to all the Zeros. So you see what I mean? This is not just a simple variant of Zero. This is a special, and this side you've got a Zord. I feel it's very disappointing that Dragon Zord hasn't got its own panel. That should have been that first panel on side, and then perhaps they should have added an extra layer, in my opinion. You know, that's just my train of thought. And very difficult to do it. I've never been a fan of these things, but if you put it all out, you can have all of them on there. I have all of these, which makes me very happy. And in reality, this is just an homage to how the comics began with that great epic Zero that everybody was mad for. You know. So as promised, here is that original things. So pretty much everything is almost the same, apart from you can see the morpher is a lot, the coin is a lot more shinier in this. There is no Morphin section here, and then you've got the big piece there celebrating 30 years of Power Rangers. And then on the back, this is what the backs used to look like, so you could just see the difference there compared to obviously what they've done there. So in terms of the issue, I'm not obviously going to run through the issue, but this has, as far as I'm concerned, the same content from issue 0. If I go all the way through it, there we go, and then it jumps into Mighty Morphin 1. So the bit that's probably a bit more special about this is that it has the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, written by Alwyn, Dale, and Becca Barnes, where it has the script in the background. So obviously you can't read that there, but you know, you can imagine all the things that this says. You got Robo Reader in there, you got Zag, you got Billy, you got Ming, you got Red Ranger, because obviously they didn't cast all the actors for this, which is a shame. And it's quite a chunk actually. You know, you can see how many pages that is. So which is quite nice. Title sequence, montage, closing credits, fade out, the end. So you know, which is very, very nice. It's a nice little piece in there. So that is that one. I think I will keep that one because I do like the fact that it has that script in the back. So on to book 2. Now, book 2 is probably even more disappointing because you can see there I have this massive gap along this line here. See where that comes in? That is a big disappointment. Now, don't get me wrong, this book is thicker than the issue 0. You also have the same piece of, it folds out like so, and then on the inside you have that beautiful issue from, it's gonna be like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 28, 29, where Shattered Grid, and then you have pretty much the same content throughout this as well. God, that's difficult. I will show it as a whole as well. And then on the back inside, once again, you have the other side of that Shattered Grid. You have some extras there. And then this is the piece there. There were 4 connecting covers. I think it was it around Necessarily Evil these 4 covers came out? I can't exactly remember. I do remember I did try and collect them, and then I thought, nah. You know, there were some connecting covers where I'm like, oh, I have to have that. But this one was like a nah. Also, do you know I talk about the I've got some damage there about the boards, etc. Now that is irritating. It does have the reading guide for Darkest Hour in the back. And then this just has, by the looks of it, just all the standard stuff from that issue. So nothing special at all. You know, I mean, I have that issue. I've got some really nice variants from that, but this part of the set is nothing special. I feel like the 0 with the Once and Always script, I actually thought the script was in here as well, but clearly I was wrong. So I'm just going to carefully do this Don't ask me why I'm doing this on camera. I shouldn't do it on camera. Let me carefully fold that out like so. And then if I carefully do this, it's a little bit easier than the other one because the other one's a lot bigger. And then you've got this piece. And I'm not a fan of wraparound because I'm never just going to get this. Do you know what I mean? I've got a comic in there that I've clearly brought. So I'm never a fan of these things anyway. Even with that 0, I'm not interested in the fold around. So in my mind, and when I did this, I've been collecting these comics for years. You would think I would be a bit more savvy. I actually ordered this because for some reason I got it in my head that they weren't going to release a standard 30th anniversary comic. And I think the Kickstarter ended and then literally that was up for pre-order. Yeah. You know, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. I would not have bothered with this, even though I do like that homage to 0 with the script in the back. I would not have done it. And I feel like in some ways, maybe I'm a little bit bitter. Maybe I'm a little bit disappointed with myself because I should know better. You know, I've been collecting Power Ranger comics for the last sort of, 6 years. So, you know, should know better. Anyway, that's on me. You can write in the comics and take the mick out of me. Feel free. I'll get over it in a few days once I've had a few cries, etc. And, you know, some tissues and some hugs from my wife, etc. But other than that, you know, this was probably the worst Kickstarter that I've seen them do. The return one is a little bit better. I've probably invested a little bit more money in it and felt like it felt a little bit worthwhile. But this one was disappointing from my perspective. I feel like they could have done better, and hence why I didn't back the whole thing, because, you know, I realized even though I may not have got these books, I would have, I feel like I would have been satisfied. But they've released them now as well. So, you know, there's that bit as well, which it seems a little bit silly in my mind. Well, I don't, you know, it's almost like you've taken your chocolate and then you've had another few free bars, for example. You've taken the mick out of us, Kickstarter, Boom Studios, as far as I'm concerned. This was a harsh one. I don't know how those that brought the hardbacks feel, but I certainly feel like I would have been really cheated. The fact that it was announced almost instantly after that those other books were going to come out. Now, if they came out in a couple of years later, you know, it's not such a bad thing. I feel like you would have got what you wanted out of it. So, anyhow, I do hope that any future Kickstarters are a little bit better than this. In fact, one of the reasons why I didn't buy it, I deliberately went and bought some of those comics on Amazon Kindle. I got it on there. So that made me feel a little bit better about the decision as well. So anyway, hope you like my video. I've ranted a little bit more than I intended to. I'm trying not to rant anymore. If you like my channel, please support my channel by subscribing. Thank you for taking the time to watch my channel. Really appreciate it. Make sure you look after yourself. Very important these days. And as always, embrace the geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.